Hello, everybody. So lately, I always watch a lot of Gaia, you know, us psychic alien beings like our Gaia. But there are certain speakers on there that are continually talking about the Anunnaki, and they are completely butchering these beings' story. And I'm really kind of getting sick of it, and I'm getting sick of hearing it. And if you watch Gaia, there's one in particular speaker that talks about them a lot. And I don't understand where he's getting this information or how he's coming to these conclusions because their history is literally written in ancient Sumeria, Mesopotamian, Babylonian text, and Egyptian and other places. Go back like Tepe, like let's go on and on and on. It's already written down. I don't know where this guy is getting his information, how he's coming to these conclusions, but you can figure out who I'm talking about on your own. So I know not all of it, but I know my universal lives, my earthly lives. I know my story. I know my Akashic records. I know that I was a member of the Anunnaki. I was there. I am speaking out because I want the true history of these people told. I'm sick of hearing these stories that they are the cause for everything that's wrong with humanity. Where are you getting that? Anyway, so let's talk about the Anunnaki. If you're not familiar, I just wrote an article and published it on my website. So this is what we're looking at. I'm not going to read the article or talk about the whole article. You can read it on your own. But these are typical images you would see related to Anunnaki. They often have pine cones. Anybody that gets a reading from me knows that I have a pine cone that I hold on to when I do readings. Pine cones present themselves to me. It is a part of my past. It is a part of my history. They represent knowledge. They represent life. They represent creation. They represent the universe. So you will often see the pine cone in their hands. So there's a little bit of misconception, confusion. There were 8 kings of Sumeria listed and talked about, of major ones, other ones as well, but they are not the same as Anunnaki. They reigned for thousands of years, 200 plus thousands of years, but they are not the original 7 members of the Anunnaki. They are descendants of. And some of them are those 7 members of Anunnaki, but as they moved to different places, they took on different names and different things. So their story is very complicated, very intertwined, but I'm going to try to tell it right. So they had all of the knowledge, and their mission was to come and get Earth started. There was life already planted here, and their one big misconception is they were here to just enslave humans and make us get gold for them. One, humans were created from apes. We know this, but not just one breed of human. And in the universe, different beings are made for different reasons, and they're made in different ways. So there's DNA manipulation, there is just like blending of minds and creating. Uh, they can create their own life form just out of grief, which you will see in this story. So there are a lot of ways that they created life and helped life bloom on Earth. And their stories are well documented. And there were mistakes and there were tragedies. And just like in everything else in life, there's good and there's bad. And they all had specific jobs to do, and they did them. And sometimes it all didn't work out the way that they had hoped or wanted, and they needed to reformat and think of a new plan, just like we do today. They are not the bad guys. I keep hearing they are the cause of all the wrong with humanity. They are not. There is a group of beings that are, but it is not the Anunnaki. So, going back to my document here, because they did DNA manufacture people from apes in different levels because they need, like, everybody has a job to do. And there were humans created to mine for gold, but they did not want the gold that we consider today. They wanted this. And I'm sorry, I don't know if that is a brand name of somebody's, but I just grabbed the first image I saw to show it to you. This is non-atomic gold. So they have to do whatever they do to it to take it out of its nice, shiny, bright self in the monetary, greedy form that humans think of it. This is what the Anunnaki wanted. And there is a reason why. It acts as a superconductor. It emits a white single frequency. The light heals faulty cells and DNA. It has anti-gravity properties. It transmutates between 700 and 800 degrees Celsius. This is what they needed. And they needed it because it helped the system have technology, be clean, be renewable, and have enough for everybody. So while there were miners that went and mined for gold, they were not slaves. That is an inappropriate term as humans think of slaves. Think of it more as a factory worker or, different professions that we have in our current life. You go to a job or a skill that you have or that you enjoy, hopefully. But it's the same thing. Things need to be made. We need people to make them. It's the same thing back then. So slavery is not the correct term here. And there were 7 members of the Anunnaki, not 8. So their names are An, or Anu, Enlil, Enki, and Hersak, Nana, Atu, and Inanna. Those are the original 7. So as we scroll down through here, you'll see depictions of them either from history. If I couldn't find that, then I had to find some artwork to depict them. But as you go through them and see their faces and read their stories, each one had a job to do. Each one had a different calling, different skills. But what you will find is their family tree chart is very complicated. Like a human starts like here and then like goes down. We don't want inbreeding. Well, inbreeding really isn't a thing when it comes to the universe. They're literally creating life. So as you go through this article and read it, you'll get down to like the chart part. And it's literally like, and then he's with her, and then mom's with him, and then, yeah. So you'll see terms in my article of mother of, father of, and then there's the son of, and then the mother's with the son, and they're making life and they're doing things. It is literally about creation. So get your human mind out of it. Okay. It is about creation. It isn't about anything else. So there is no inbreeding. And if they wanted to have kids come out with flippers, they would just make them come out with flippers because they needed kids with flippers. So, inbreeding joke. Anyway, their story is being told wrong. And what they did do is bring knowledge and life and mathematics, astrology, astronomy, building, how to have clean energy, how to have technology, how to travel. They linked the entire world through all of the ancient sites with the ley lines, with the hotspots. Travel was possible from Earth through the galaxies, through wormholes, through portals. All of this was going on. They helped establish us. They wanted us to rise higher and get to where they need us to be. They're still trying to get us to be where they need us to be. And by the way, humanity, if we don't stop our shit, like we are the only living group of things that I've ever heard of that willingly destroys its own habitat and is like, yeah, that was a good idea. It's like, why do we do that? Greed. So if we don't get our shit together, there will be another like cataclysm like the big flood. That was a real thing. It's documented all over the world in all kinds of ancient texts. And it wasn't just one dude with his one ship that gathered up some things to survive. There were many from many different civilizations to try to save some life on Earth and start over. So, were there mistakes made with the Anunnaki? Yeah, it's trial and error here. They're trying to get something going. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you have kids and they're just a bad egg, man, and cause a lot of freaking problems. And then you got to take care of that crap and handle it. Same thing with them. They had kids that were bad eggs. They had to destroy a lot of those children. But their main mission was to get Earth to a high vibrational state and have beings here that could function with the universe. That's it. So when we get through their story and you can meet them all and read their jobs and what they did and some of who they were with. I didn't get into all of it because, like I said, I was getting a mind cramp just writing this thing. I was like, who was with who now? And then you were where and made it up with who and created life. And then, yeah, I felt like I was trying to read Game of Thrones, which I can't read because I tried to. And it was like 10,000 characters coming at you all at once. And it's like, uh-huh. I don't remember the first two. So, yeah, that's what it felt like. But as you go down and you read their stories and how they created things and the struggles that they went through and various members being cast into the underworld and being punished for things that they did and their offspring and even humans coming to them and sending bad energies to the underworld for harming them, right? There was an entire justice system for wrongdoers. So, you've got gods of the sun, gods of the moon, goddesses of creation, love. Everybody had a job and a role to play. And the women are a little bit bigger in this article than the men. There's a reason for that. One is my story, the other is one of my besties' stories we know our incarnation, reincarnations, and why we're here. So, yeah, you can read those on your own, but I did try to make it as brief as possible on the history just because it does get so complicated. But if you think of them, here's their their chart. So you'll notice that names change, like Namu. You come down here, she starts to be known as Kai, which is also the same as the mother creator in her shack. So it's a little hard to keep up with if you keep digging deeper, just because they just were everywhere and had so many offspring and created so many civilizations. But the truth is they are not the cause for all of the bad things that are going on with humanity. The truth is they tried to get Earth going, and they still are. The truth is they want the best for us. They didn't always do things right. Shit turned out pretty freaking crappy. But we all go through that. Life is a process. It is a process for the universe too. It's no different. And as far as, I'm going to add in the story of Atlantis in here really quick, briefly in my article, but they've got that wrong too, because Atlantis was a system. It was not a place. I mean, it was a place, but it was a system. It was knowledge. It was astrology, astronomy, love, emotions, community. It was a system. And when you see pictures of Atlantis with the rings and the rings, I've seen this many times in meditation and going deeper and trying to find things. It did have rings, but it was a machine. It was life. It was time. It was space. It was the universe. It was knowledge. It linked the entire world together. So there is a place in the Atlantic with the Atlantic Ridge in the ocean. That's where I have seen it in meditation. And once the information, all of the information was given to everybody on Earth, they did the wrong thing with it. And we're still doing the wrong thing. But anyway, so the information was taken. The entire system of Atlantis was broken, cut off. The knowledge was taken. The links from the universe and other galaxies to our galaxy, all of it was cut off. And then you start to see later in ancient times, the people that survived the flood, there were many people on many different crafts with animals and life and bioforms to try to keep life going on Earth. Not just one dude with his ship with some animals and those stupid pictures that the Christians always show with like lions and shit. Like, anyway. So every ancient civilization has a story of this flood and how they had to escape it. It's not just one guy. So they never left. And they helped us rebuild, but that knowledge was kept from us. And the world has been kept in the dark for a very, very long time. And then religion took over, and then it got even darker. But you'll notice, especially like, for instance, if you look at ancient Inca, there are places where the bottom part of their architecture, their building, is completely different looking. The stone at the bottom is cut very perfectly and fit together so closely that you can't even fit a piece of paper between them. That's the Anunnaki sites, the ancient sites. And then the ancient people still knew those were hot spots. They knew about the energy there. They knew the stories. So they built on top of them. That happened all over the ancient world. Whether if you go to Cambodia, Egypt, South America, they all built back upon these power spots, Stonehenge, and they were all linked by the ley lines. The entire world was linked as a system. So we did the wrong thing with that information. The Anunnaki made a mistake by giving us that information too fast, and they know it, and they took it, and the entire universe has been trying to get Earth straight for a really long time. The Anunnaki are just a small part in this gigantic puzzle. So shaming them, just one, doesn't even make any sense because their actual history is recorded. We have it. We don't have to guess. So I don't know why people are making shit up. And did they always do the right thing? No. Does any of us? No. But that's the Anunnaki. So check out the article so that you guys can read about all the characters and know them and know what their lives were, what their jobs were, what they did for us, and the bad things that happened and how they tried to fix it and how we're still trying to fix it today. And that's about all for the Anunnaki. But keep the truth out there going because we don't want these people's story tarnished any more than it has been. History is filled with that. The Bible has butchered everybody's story that ever existed because it has been gutted and edited and take this out and put that in, and oh, that doesn't benefit what our agenda is, so get rid of that story, and oh, let's fix this here and make it, fix work how we need it to. So all of those poor people that wrote their stories down, we have no idea what their actual story was. That's sad. I don't want that to happen here. So, am I saying I have all the answers for the Anunnaki? No, I'm still exploring my own past lives and going through my own records, and I still keep learning more and more and more. But I am never going to be a person that just listens to one person and, like, oh, yeah, that was them. They're the bad guys. It's like, no, pick up a book, pick up a computer, go to the library, research, learn. Don't be a sheep. Don't be a sheep.